Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
You have likely heard the phrase the Magnitsky Act before. That is the act that targets top Russian oligarchs and officials, Putin's closest aides, denying them access to Western visas and investment opportunities. It is the act that the Russian government wants repealed, and it is what the Russians who met with the Trump campaign wanted to talk about. Bill Browder, who had once been the largest foreign investor in Russia, is the driving force behind that law. Now the Russians have fought back. Earlier this week, Browder found a ban from the United States because Russia had put out an Interpol arrest warrant on him. Interpol has now blocked that warrant, and Mr. Browder is again free to travel. He joins me today from London. Welcome, Bill.
Good to see you.
First, explain the timing of this this decision. Why this week?
Well, so last week was a very important week in that Canada passed the Canadian version of the Magnitsky Act to impose visa sanctions and asset freezes on the people who killed my lawyer, Sergei Magnitsky, and the people who do similar abuses in Russia and around the world. And Putin went crazy over this. And when I say he went crazy, we actually got a chance to see a video of him giving a speech in which he spent about 5 minutes talking about how angry he was with me. And roughly on the same day as that was all happening, Putin added me to the Interpol arrest warrant system. And on that same day, my U.S. visa was blocked. Thankfully, the U.S. quickly, Senator John McCain and Senator Benjamin Cardin quickly intervened in the U.S. And a few hours later, Department of Homeland Security issued me a new visa. And thankfully, Interpol has also blocked Russia's arrest warrant. And so I'm back to normal. But it's pretty dramatic, and it's pretty clear that Putin is not a happy man about me today.
Explain why Canada's passing the Magnitsky Act is so important, because the U.S. has this law, but the fear, I think, that the Russians have is that it will spread throughout the Western world, correct?
So what the Magnitsky Act does is it freezes assets and bans visas of human rights abusers in Russia and elsewhere. Putin doesn't like this because he's a very rich man. He's got, in my estimation, $200 billion of net worth. He's probably the richest man in the world. And he's afraid that that money will be frozen. And so he initially lashed out at the American Magnitsky Act. But what's more concerning for him is that as the Magnitsky Act gets replicated in other countries, there'll be no place for him to hide, and his money won't be safe. And Putin is particularly mad about Canada because Canada is seen as a totally neutral, honest broker, moral leader type of country. You know, people can say, well, America is a big superpower, and other countries may not want to follow a superpower, but nobody has any bad feelings. There's no such thing as anti-Canadianism. And so as a result of that, I believe, and I think Putin believes, that there will be now a whole domino effect of other countries passing the Magnitsky Act.
And to remind people, this was the issue that was being brought up by the Russian lawyer and the former intelligence operative from Russia when they met with Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort, when they met with the Trump campaign, correct?
Exactly. So Putin has been just really upset about this. It was his number one foreign policy priority to get rid of the Magnitsky Act. He was through various proxies and intermediaries. They came to the United States and other countries, but they came to the United States to try to make sure that this thing wasn't going to get implemented, maybe would get repealed. And as one of those intermediaries went in, it was this woman, Natalia Veselnitskaya, this Russian lawyer, and then this Russian spy, Rinat Akhmetshin. And those were the two people on June 9th, 2016, right after Trump was nominated, the Republican nominee. They went to Trump Tower. They met with Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., and Paul Manafort. And they went in with one very specific ask, which was to repeal the Magnitsky Act. And there's no question that that's what they were asking for, because there's actually now documentary evidence of that. The only question that everybody has is what was going to be offered in return.
And to understand the Russian allegation, it is that you were complicit in the murder of your lawyer, who died in a Russian prison when you were not even in Russia. So how did you, what is the charge? How could that have happened?
I mean, it's about the craziest thing I've ever seen. So they're saying that that I murdered Sergei Magnitsky from London somehow, and they said I did so in conjunction with an unidentified MI6 agent, MI6 being the Secret Service of Britain, and they somehow believe that I was able to pull strings in all of the Russian justice system to basically have him killed in a Russian prison. And what makes it even more absurd is that I then spent the next 8 years fighting for justice and passing sanctions against Russia to get justice for Sergei Magnitsky. I mean, it's the most crazy cockamamie allegation that could ever be made. And in a certain sense, what it shows to me is that we've really gotten under Vladimir Putin's skin, that he's kind of lost it. He's been mad for a long time, and they're just now doing crazy stuff, and this is the craziest of all the crazy stuff they've done.
Bill Browder, always a pleasure to have you on.
Great to see you.